The flop is amazing. King 9-3 with 2 spades. It checks to me and I bet 65. Low jack calls. And then high jack re-raises to 250. I'm all in. What's up, everybody? We're playing at the Wynn today. Wynn is one of the best cash game rooms in Vegas in my opinion. Seems like it's one of the best for tournaments as well, but I don't play a lot of tournaments so I can't say it for sure. In the 1-3 field, you can buy in for 500, and in the 2-5 field, you can buy in for 1500. Welcome to the Poker Profit channel, the first poker vlog created to help you becoming a better poker player. I buy in for 500 in the 1-3 game. First hand I get King 9 suited from the hijack, low jack limps, I raise to 16 in position, only low jack call, and we see a flop of Queen 7 deuce rainbow with 1 diamond. He checks to me and I'm gonna see bet. I see bet to 20 and he calls. This is a pretty dry flop, no flush draws or straight draws, so I'm most likely losing. Turns a queen, which makes it be less likely for me to have a queen. When he checks to me, I just check back. River is an ace. This card favors my range way more than his, but then he decides to lead out for $45. I fold and he shows quads. Limp calling queens from the low jack, hitting quads in the turn. I buy in for $50 more. Next hand I'm in the under the gun with pocket queens. I raise to 13. Low jack and small blind call, so 3 players see the flop. The flop is not good. 4, 5, 6 rainbow, but I still think I'm winning most of the times with pocket queens. I decide to see bet. I see bet to $30. Low jack and small blind call, so now I got a red flag. I'm not so confident I'm winning anymore. And then to make it worse, the turn comes a 3 of clubs, so now any 7 or deuce makes a straight. They both have a couple to pair in their ranges as well. Small blind checks to me and I decide to check. Low jack checks as well. The river is an 8, which doesn't change much, besides now 8-6 and 8-5 suited got there as well. And now the small blind bets $40. It's a pretty small bet. I could decide to call here for being such a small bet. If I'm right, around 15 to 20% here, this call is already profitable, but that really seems like a value bet to me. Low jack also plays behind me, and he could be beating me as well, so I decide to fold. Next hand I'm in the small blind with King 8 offsuit. I complete the small blind. 4 players see the flop. The flop is great, 8-8-5 with 2 spades. I have no spades and I decide to lead out, $6. Middle position calls, then cut off free raises to $26. He is the viewer of the channel and I'm losing for 2 combinations of hands. 8-5 suited, that there's only 1 combo, which is 8-5 of hearts, and Ace 8, that there are some in his range, but there are also 8 queen, 8 jack, 8 10, 8 9, 8 7, 8 6, so I know I'll be winning most of the times here. And there is a flush draw in the board. I'm out of position. Middle position is also in the hand, and if I just call, he's gonna have a great price to call as well. So after considering all my options, I decide to re-raise to $80. Middle position calls, which now I put him on flush draws and some trips, just like mine. Maybe even a full house with 8-5 suited. Cutoff folds. He has like 135 left, so SPR is less than 1. If turn is a blank, I'm gonna just shove. That's what happens. I go all in. He calls. I show King 8, and he shows Ace 8, having the hand we didn't want no one to have. And we get coolered. I'm still playing for the 5 and 3 to chop, King to win the hand. It doesn't come, and I lose. Losing little more than $300. I buy in for 300 more. I get called for the 2-5, and that's where I'm going. When I was going to the table, I was recognized by a dealer called Dylan. He gave me some tips about the table I was about to play. Thanks a lot. The first hand I'm in the hijack with Queen 10 of clubs. Under the gun straddles. 2 callers before me, that's already a great sign. I raise to 60 in position, only the button calls, We go heads up to the flop. Button seems to be one of the only rags at the table. The flop comes ace, 5, deuce, rainbow with 1 club. This board favors way more my range than his. I have a lot of ace king, ace queen, ace jack in my range. And I believe if he had ace king, ace queen, he would probably 3-bet pre-flop. So I see bet to 75. Button thinks for a while and decides to call. Turn is a blank, a deuce of hearts. It doesn't change nothing. My effective stack is 395. I consider shoving all in, but I believe a bet like 125 represents as much strength as shoving in this case. Like I want to extract value with ace king, ace queen. So that's what I do. I bet 125. And he folds. Losing 154. Next hand I get 6-5 suited from the under the gun +1. I decide to raise to 20. I'm having a pretty card dead session, so I'm pretty sure my image is of a tight guy. Button and small blind call. The flop is good for me. 4, 6, jack with 2 spades. I believe most of the times I will be winning here with pair of 6s. So I'm gonna see bet to protect my equity. I see bet to $40. That guy in the other side of the table seems to be the fish. And he is also running hot. And he's probably winning a lot. He calls. Small blind calls as well. Turn is an 8. I have a good shot now. Small blind checks to me and I decide to check back. Button checks back as well. River is a deuce of clubs. We all check again. Small blind shows ace 8 offsuit. I'm glad to see why he's calling from the small blind. And also that he called in the flop. Button showed queen 10 offsuit and small blind wins the hand. Dylan was right and this table is amazing. Next hand I'm in the big blind with 10-9 offsuit. Middle position raises to 20. 2 callers before me and I call from the big blind. Flop is good for me. I make top pair. I check. Middle position bets 40. Hijack calls in the other side of the table. The other player fold and we already have a decision. Should we check raise here or check call? I believe both plays are fine. I have no information about middle position besides he is looking like a pro. He's a Japanese young guy who seems to be taking the game seriously. And he is also with a Poker Go hoodie. Overall, he seems like a good player. I decide to go with a more passive line and just call the $40. Turn is a jack, not the worst. I check. Middle position now bets $90. Hijack calls. And now my instinct is telling me to fold here. I just feel like middle position is gonna stop betting with hands like ace king, ace queen. It was his first hand at the table. I'm out of position and my effective stack is like 650. So I think for a while and I decide to fold. It ended up middle position had pocket queens. I buy in for 100 more, losing 255. After a bunch of hands, I see ace deuce suited. Low jack raises to 25. My image at the table is definitely of a tight guy because I'm pretty card dead in the last hour. I 3-bet to 75 and everybody quickly folds. Next hand I'm in the under the gun and I see pocket kings. I raise to 25. I get 4 callers, so 5 players see the flop. The flop is amazing. King 9-3 with 2 spades. It checks to me and I bet 65, around half pot. Low jack calls and then hijack re-raises to 250. My effective stack is 615. Low jack and hijack have a lot of gut shots and flush draws in their ranges. There's a small chance one of them have the queen, because I block 2 kings here. So I think most of the times this guy is gonna re-raise me with a flush draw or with a set. I don't think he re-raises me with air and I would have to call 185 more and they are in position against me. I think this situation is pretty close between calling or shoving. The variance would be higher if I just call because I'm gonna let hijack see the turn in position. Also I could be letting low jack call the 185 more and see the turn in position against me as well. If there is no flush draw in the board, I will just call. But with this flush, after thinking for a while and considering all my options, I decide to shove all in.
All in.
If some of them have ace high flush draw, they could decide to call because they would think they had 35% equity to win the hand, which they don't. And there's also a chance of me having a hand like queen jack suited with the spade or queen 10 suited with the spade, which is a good shot flush draw and would make some sense for me to shove. So I hope to get called by these hands. Low jack folds and then hijack thinks for a long time. In the end, he decides to fold, and we take the hand. We're out of the hole, winning in 157 in around 3 hours and a half of game. Next hand I get ace queen suited from the button, middle position raises to 15, hijack and cutoff call. I'm gonna 3-bet here, and I decide to 3-bet in a smaller sizing. I 3-bet to 65, I wanna play this hand in position against them. Middle position and cutoff call, great time to smash the board, which doesn't happen unfortunately. 7-5-3 rainbow, they both check to me. I believe this board misses the three of us pretty often. Some of them could have a pocket pair, but I decide to take my chances and keep betting. I see bet 105, middle position folds, until the cutoff, who thinks for a long time, decides to shove all in for 220. Now I'm in a tough spot. I gotta call 115 for a pot that has 387. My equity has to be around 20 to 25%, so this call is profitable. And if he has just a pair, I have enough odds to call here, cause I gotta call 115 for a pot that has 387. If he has two pair or a set, this call will not be profitable. So after thinking for a while, looking at him, I think the majority of the times he will just have a pair here, especially with this board. I decide to call.
You're almost correct. One level down.
Turn and river doesn't help me out. He shows 5 deuce suited and wins the hand. It's kind of late. I'm gonna play the millionaire maker tomorrow and I wanna sleep well, so I decided it's enough for today. It was a great table. The fish in the other side of the table got out of the game as well, so another reason for me to leave. I loved what I see here. Pretty soft table. Unfortunately, I didn't run so well. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe to the channel. The mission of this channel is helping you become a better poker player. I hope I'm achieving that goal, and see you next time.